Hey folks, had to do some fixing of technical glitches, so I'm going to give everybody a few moments to bump over to this feed as opposed to the one that I had up earlier, which was being glitchy and I had to change. So welcome to Wise Owls Pub Quiz for September 17th? Yes, September 17th. I'm Paige, your host from the Lethbridge Public Library, though not really, because obviously I'm not the public library. I'm at my library at home. Hi to everybody joining from the Owl Acoustic Lounge and anywhere else in the world where you have joined us here. So give me a few seconds. I just have to do some quick file upkeep, and then we'll be back. Ignore me playing with my phone again, doing technical things, very technical things, and getting things ready to go. All right. So last month we came to you live from outside the Owl Acoustic Lounge in Lethbridge, Alberta. I was standing out on the cool street stage chatting with you folks. But now, being as it's dark at about 8 o'clock, kind of hard to do things from outside. So I am here from my, like I said, my library. I forgot to grab a nice little pillow. Fortunately, I have a giant corduroy crocodile. This is Bill. He's my friend. And he does quite nicely, there we go, as a bit of extra back support. So crocodiles, useful things. Probably not the real ones, more so the, stuffy ones. So hopefully we can get things going. I have tossed the link to the form, which everybody will need for responding. I have tossed that link into the video description here on YouTube. So take a look at that. I will toss it into the chat here as well. There we go, giant Google Docs link of doom. What that Google Docs form does is it gives you an answer sheet for the trivia. The only required field is a team name. So you do have to come up with a team name. I have to say it's very different not really seeing anybody. I feel a little like I'm talking to, ooh, heckling is about to begin, according to the chat. That's good, because I was feeling, despite, the little pigs, and up there is the doctor. You can't really see them, but there's the doctor and Buffy and Giles, feeling a little lonely here in my house. Jealous of all you folks hanging out at the Owl Acoustic Lounge in Lethbridge Public Library, or, communicating other ways with your teammates. So we're just going to give things a little bit longer to get going. We've got a couple people viewing, so that's good. I'm assuming one of those is the owl, so you all can see me and whatnot. So that's good. And I'm just going to send out a couple messages via our other social media things, since I did have to change the YouTube link earlier on. Things were getting a little wonky. So started over with a new link, and things are much, much happier now. The joys of technology, I tell you. All right, so bear with. I'm going to just do another little video on Instagram for people who usually connect with us. Usually on Thursday nights, we're doing, from this same room, mini trivia, which is on Instagram as opposed to YouTube Live. I'm going to just make a dorky video. You guys can kind of watch me try to do the dorky videos. We'll see how that goes. It's very weird seeing myself on two screens all at once. It's very strange. Hey folks, Wise Owls Pub Quiz is about to begin over at the library's YouTube page. So go over to YouTube, search for Lethbridge Public Library, and get ready to join the Wise Owls live broadcast. Questions will start in about 5 minutes or so, and we'll see you there. And that is how one does a super dorky YouTube video or Instagram video for the library's feed. If you aren't following the library on Instagram, highly encourage you to do that, because like I said, the Wise Owls Pub Quiz is once a month. here kind of sort of at the Owl Acoustic Lounge. And everywhere else, or every other week, it is on Thursday nights at 9 o'clock on Instagram Live. That's kind of an abridged mini trivia version you all are kind of going to see tonight. There will be much cam adjusting, I'm sure. Because basically, I'm just staring at myself for the next 2 hours and a little bit at the chat. So that is how that goes. I'm also going to be putting up some info on YouTube. So not YouTube, Facebook. Too many social medias. Bear with, folks. Bear with. Talk amongst yourselves, as I often say from the stage at the Owl Acoustic Lounge in old times. And watch while I probably make silly faces while concentrating. While I'm doing this, let's see if I can do two things at once. While I'm doing an update of the Facebook post here about trivia, do make sure you check out info about Word on the Street by Googling Word on the Street or going to thewordonthestreet.ca, all one big giant word. That is the library's big cool festival that's happening this week. We had 2 comic sessions last night and tonight. There are children's sessions tomorrow morning, teen sessions, which I will be hosting tomorrow afternoon, and all Saturday afternoon are cool grown-up programs with grown-up authors. And those are all free. You just do need to register so that you can get the Zoom link. And that'll be super fun on Saturday. Turns out I can't type one thing while trying to verbalize another thing. It's just not going to happen. All right. Well, we've got about 5 people, according to my lovely stats, who are now here. So I think that means it is time for me to go over some rules. I had a lovely post attached to the video that had all the rules. That is no longer with us because I had to start over. Basically, rules are pretty simple. 4 people max to a team. This is so that the teams playing from the Owl can be small enough for the tables at the Owl, and the people playing from home then don't have any sort of advantage over the bar teams, bar table teams. So 4 people to a team, please and thank you. You can use whatever technology you would like to converse with your teammates if you're not all playing from the same spot. The one thing that is important with this online version of the Wise Owls pub quiz is that you don't be a loser and look things up online. Just use your brain. All you get to use, your brain, the brains of your teammates for all of the answers, because otherwise, it's just kind of lame. It's just kind of sad. And I will be very disappointed in you. Sad, brokenhearted librarian if you cheat and look up answers. So no Googling the answers, use your brains. It's all the honor system, as the players have said. And the way you will play is you will click on the link that I have over in the chat, and that will get you to a Google Docs or Google Doc form. It should have a big, I think the first one is a big green background owl. It will say round 1, and that round 1 will get you a spot to put all of your answers for this first bit of the session. All right. If you were here for August's round, it will be pretty similar to that. And hopefully things are good to go. Yeah. All right. Hopefully everybody has joined us or is able to join us over here. Again, 4 people to a team, use your brains, put the answers in the Google form. It's a little bit different than old school Wise Owls pub quiz, which used to be like 2 big halves for the pub quiz. Now there are sort of 3 rounds 1, 2, and 3, just to make my life a little easier, because there will be some marking that I do. I don't get to just tell you to pass it between teams, because that's not going to work, obviously, with this virtual version. I have to do all the marking. Yeah, there's a reason your math teacher made you mark each other's work back in the day. Marking a whole class worth of trivia answers sucks. Though I do appreciate when you really seriously don't know the answer and you put something stupid. That's enjoyable for me. But even more enjoyable, correct answers, because those are easier to mark. So we will do the 3 rounds. I will mark in between times. I'll come back, give you answers, give you score updates, and we will see how that all goes. So if y'all are ready to go, I think I'm ready to go, and we can get started with some questions. I have to say that being home and not actually at the Owl is a little sad for snacking purposes, because there are many fewer French fries at my house than at the Owl. Sad times. All right, welcome to the Wise Owls Pub Quiz, presented officially by the Lethbridge Public Library and the Owl Acoustic Lounge here in Lethbridge, Alberta. You can play from other places if you are in other places. It's just that when I finally get around to getting some prizes lined up, you have to be a member of Lethbridge Public Library to win those prizes. In the first form, there's a spot for 1 person on your team to put a library card number. That is how I will end up doing prizes. So if you are in Lethbridge and you have a Lethbridge Public Library card number, if somebody has a barcode, throw that in there, and for prizes, I will distribute things like that once I actually get some prizes going. All right, from there we start, as we always do, with the month in which we find ourselves, this somehow being September of 2020. So, question number 1 for September. On this date in 1983, which woman became the first Black Miss America? In 1983, on this date, September 17th, which woman became the first Black Miss America? So you're going to put your answer to that in the first part of the form. All right, September question number 2. If I'm going too fast, let me know in the chat. September question number 2. Though he only lived to be 29 years old, this singer-songwriter recorded 35 singles that reached the top 10 of the Billboard Country and Western Bestsellers chart, including Hey Good Lookin'. The singer was born on this date in 1923. Name that country and Western singer. He passed away at the age of only 29. He was born on this date in 1923, and he recorded 35 singles that reached the Billboard Top 10 Country and Western Bestseller chart. Who is that singer? If you need repeats of any questions, you're going to have to throw that into the live chat on the side of the YouTube thing. I'll try to do each question at least twice. And again, if you need any repeats, give me a shout in the chat. September question number 3, on to number 3 now. Baz Luhrmann also celebrates his birthday today. What is the collected name for his 3 films? 3 big films, he's done more than that. What is the collected name for his 3 big films? Strictly Ballroom, William and Shakespeare's Romeo plus Juliet, and Moulin Rouge. What is the collective name for those 3 films? All directed by Baz Luhrmann, who is celebrating his birthday today. The collected name for the trilogy of Strictly Ballroom, William Shakespeare's Romeo plus Juliet, and Moulin Rouge. What is the collective name for those movies? It's very quiet in here. It's very much not like regular trivia when I'm doing this from home. Very, very quiet. Maybe next time I'll get Steve to like create an audio stream or something that I can just listen to so I feel like I know what's going on at the bar. All right. September question number 4. A renowned German director's newest film debuted this week at the Toronto International Film Festival. It's a feature documentary about meteorites and comets, and it's narrated with his distinctive voice. Who is this renowned German film director? Again, his newest film just debuted at the Toronto International Film Festival, and it's a feature documentary about meteorites and comets. The science, the history, the mythology, all of that cool stuff. And it's narrated by this same renowned German film director. Who is he? What's his name? All right, September question number 5. The first Occupy Wall Street protest began on this date in 2011. Demonstrators marched in Manhattan, ultimately occupying which park? So during the first Occupy Wall Street protest, which began on this date in 2011, demonstrators marched through Manhattan, ultimately ending up and occupying which park? Which park did the Occupy Wall Street protesters end up at when they began their very first protest in 2011, September 17th, 2011? All right, if anybody needs to hear any of those ones again, can you let me know in the video chat? That would be the best way, possibly the only way. I'm trying to keep an eye on other Lethbridge Public Library social media streams at the moment, notably Facebook and Instagram, but this YouTube live stream is probably the best way because this is where I'm actually broadcasting from, or to, or whichever way we're going with that. All right. Looking good so far. All right, so no repeats for the September category. Okay, we're going to move on then to the second category of the first round. It's fall. There are apples. So an apples category, because it's that season. September is definitely apple season. Ask any kindergarten teacher. Everything is apples all through September. Apple question number 1. Taking its name from the French hotel where it was first developed, name the upside-down pastry that starts with a layer of apples caramelized in sugar and butter before it's baked. So what is the name of the French pastry that was originally developed in a French hotel and then named for that French hotel? It's an upside-down pastry that starts with a layer of apples caramelized in butter and sugar, topped with pastry, and then ultimately flipped over before serving. What's the name of that rather delicious French pastry dessert? All right, apples question number 2. It's an analogy question. I know we don't really do SATs up here, but I feel like I remember questions like this back when I was in high school. It was kind of a thing. So it's an analogy, a word analogy question. So, apples are to cider as pears are to what? Apples are to cider as pears are to what? I.e., you make cider from apples, and what do you make as an alcoholic drink from pears? That's what that one is. Alrighty, apple question number 3. In 2018, the American Apple Association announced that what variety of apples had overtaken Red Delicious as the most produced apple in the United States, ending a 50-year run for the Red Delicious. So in 2018, the U.S. Apple Association announced that Red Delicious was no longer the top apple being produced in the U.S. Which apple took the apple crown? What is now the most popularly produced apple in the U.S.? What variety of apple? It also feels weird to be like sitting down for Wise Owl's pub quiz. I'm normally sitting down for mini trivia, so that part's not weird. But usually with Wise Owls, I'm doing a little bit of pacing back and forth. So if I'm kind of like bopping around in my chair, that's why. Usually I'm moving more. It's very strange. I also am trying to keep eyes on the camera instead of eyes on myself. And it's a little weird. I'm easily distracted by myself is what I'm saying. Yeah, it's one of those things. I do not envy anybody doing Zoom school. It would be a nightmare. Because so many faces, easily distracted by faces, this one. Also the sparkly glasses tonight. That's a thing too. All right, apple question number 4. What is the name of the variety of brandy made from apples in Normandy? What is the name of the apple brandy that is made specifically in Normandy, France? What is the name of that variety of brandy, the one that's from Normandy and is made from apples? It's a very specific type. You can only call this type of apple, you can only call apple brandy by this name if it is the one from Normandy, just like you can only call sparkling wine champagne if it's from the Champagne region. One of those VOC things. All right, and question number 5 for apples. In Cockney rhyming slang, apples and pears is slang for what word? It's one of the more popular ones according to the internet. In Cockney rhyming slang, the phrase apples and pears is slang for what other word? What does apples and pears stand in for in Cockney rhyming slang? All right, and at that point, if you need any repeats, toss a comment with a number in the live chat, in the video chat, so that I know which one you want to hear again. I should have brought like an apple for a prop for this round or something like that. Then again, I don't usually use props for Wise Owl's pub quiz, so maybe that would have been weird. Would have created expectations. I'd have to find all sorts of weird props then for all the other categories, and I feel like that would just be very difficult. All right, does anybody want any of the apple questions repeated? If so, let me know with a little comment in the chat, please. Otherwise, I'm going to move onwards into the third part of round 1. Got some comments saying that we are all good. All right, so we're going to move on to the third part of round 1. which, because September 22nd is Hobbit Day, is around all about hobbits. Lord of the Rings. Oh, we have a request. Before I get to hobbits, back to Apple question number 1. Apple question number 1. Taking its name from the French hotel where it was first developed, name the upside-down pastry that starts with a layer of apples caramelized in sugar and butter before it's topped with pastry, baked, and then poop, flipped up. And super delicious. Name the apple upside-down pastry that originated in a French hotel. Awesome. Thank you all for using the chat for these sorts of things. You can send me other comments. You can chat back and forth in the live chat. That's totally cool too. This is a social program. It's all part of the thing. And I know not all of you are actually over at the Owl. I know some of you are, but not all of you are. Many of you are at home on your, comfortable green velvet chairs. I assume we all have these, with your crocodile pillow, as it were. Yes. So let me know if you have any repeats or any comments, or if you didn't hear something in the chat. It's really the only way I know what's going on with all of you. All right. So with that Apple repeat, like I said, we're going to move on to the next section, which is in honor of September 22nd being Hobbit Day. It is a bunch of Hobbity questions. Hobbit question number 1. According to Tolkien, what happens to trolls when they are exposed to daylight? According to Tolkien, as evidenced by what happens in his books, what happens to trolls when they are exposed to daylight? To very dramatic effect, I must say. All right, Hobbit question number 2. What is the name of the inn at Bywater in which Bilbo rejoins the dwarves? So when Bilbo rejoins the dwarves, they meet up at an inn. The inn is in Bywater, or at Bywater. What is the name of that inn at Bywater where Bilbo rejoins the dwarves?